EWM areas. Yeah.
Thank you. Saurabh, maybe you can share your screen and take it away.
I'll just share. Can you confirm if you can see my screen?
Yes, I can see the screen.
Okay, thanks. So hi, everyone. First of all, I wanted to welcome all of you and say thanks for joining today's session. Now, and also thanks for being one of the early adopters of SAP S/4HANA solutions. Now, since the time most of your organizations implemented S/4HANA solutions, let's say 15, 11, 16, 10, there have been a lot of changes and massive investment done in various line of businesses by SAP to improve and add more functionalities, add more innovations to this supply to the S/4HANA solutions. So this enablement series that we are doing today is basically to help you to give an overview of what those innovations and changes that have come about. And then during the course of the enablement series, if you have any questions, then either me and my colleague Timpu will be happy to take up your questions. Now, today's session, we'll specifically cover the area of supply chain. So as a standard disclaimer, where during this course of this presentation, we'll be covering or sharing some forward-looking statements and slides, which may be subject to some changes. So that should be taken into consideration. Now, as I discussed, as part of the standard S/4HANA Business Scope 2021, there are different LOBs are there, and within that LOBs, today we'll be covering the supply chain area. Specifically, the supply chain, if you look at this particular slide, if you look into the horizontals for the supply chain, the S/4HANA Enterprise Management Solutions into the supply chain covers a lot of different solution areas, or basically business areas like inventory, warehousing, delivery, transportation, order promising. Just give me, yeah. So if you see, we have different areas like inventory, warehousing, delivery, transportation, order promising, circular economy, logistics, and others. And it not only covers this particular enterprise management, but there are also additional license-based solutions, which are the advanced versions of your, let's say, advanced transportation and advanced warehousing. So in this particular presentation today, primarily we'll be covering the S/4HANA Enterprise Management, and I'll slightly touch upon the advanced warehousing and transportation solutions also. So let's start with the delivery in transportation and warehousing. First, we'll look into the innovations in the transportation area. Now, since that time, one of the once initially 1610 solution came in, and then you have the 1709, one of the largest innovation that came in the area of supply chain was the introduction of transport management solution as embedded within the SAP S/4HANA solution. So initially, if you remember, we have a SAP S/4HANA and we have a side-by-side transportation management solution. Currently, from 1709 onwards, this solution has now also been embedded and available as an embedded transportation management. So there are essentially two solutions now. Now, along the way, like in 1809 up till now, a lot of additional functionalities have been added. Some of these functionalities are related to usability, like introduction of Gantt charts for planning and analytics, having functionalities like package building, because those are core functionalities that are required from a transportation perspective. So those have been added. Okay. Now to start off, this is where we were currently prior to 2017, where most of our customers had LETRA as their solution, which is a representation of what a basic transportation functionality is. Now, as part of this new release, we have introduced basic shipping, which has a compatibility scope to LETRA. We'll go into the details of what this basic shipping is all about, but this gives an overview that we had an LETRA, and going forward, that LETRA functionalities will be represented as basic shipping. Now, as of today, we also have transportation management and an advanced transportation management. So basically, all new functionalities are coming under the advanced transportation management. Now, not every customer requires these advanced functionalities, and we'll go into those details around what these advanced functionalities are. Okay. Now, going forward, as per the plan, we will have two solutions: the standard S/4HANA transportation management solution and the advanced transportation management solution. Okay. Now, when we refer to the transportation management solution, it basically is primarily referring to the shipping industries, where you have a delivery-based planning. You essentially create freight orders, which is your load that is being planned. You have manual and rule-based planning. There is simple monitoring of freight orders and the charge calculation and settlement, because you, at the end of the day, you want to pay to your service providers. The advanced transportation management covers more detailed functionalities, which not only covers the shipping industries, but also covers the freight forwarders. It has more holistic end-to-end transportation management because it covers more optimizer-based planning functionalities, more detailed tendering like peer-to-peer and broadcasts, and more functionalities with respect to, like, say, strategic freight management, dispute management, more analytics, and advanced charge calculation, etc. Now, as part of this thing, this particular presentation, the basic shipping within SAP S/4HANA, it contains the main parts of the transportation management network, which is basically how you manage your transportation, the train lanes, the allocations, the business shares. We can do functionalities around charge calculations, freight agreements management, transportation planning, which is basically your allocations of your demand and capacity, settlements, agency billing, output management, analytics, some parts of dangerous goods management, and direct entry. So essentially, it covers most of the functionalities that were earlier present as part of your LETRA. Those are now available within your basic shipping. Going forward, I'll take you on a slide-by-slide functionality basis as to what was available within LETRA and how that functionality is getting covered in your basic shipping processes. But first, let's see, how does the transportation process get represented in your SAP S/4HANA solution? So in the earlier world, where we had an ERP solution and your transportation solution, we had our purchase orders, sales orders being created in your ERP, based on which delivery gets created, which is then transferred to your transportation solution, the side-by-side transportation solution, to create the TM relevant objects, which are your freight units. Eventually, once the planning is done, you create freight order, you start your execution, you trigger the delivery movement, and finally, you do the charge management and settlement, which is your payment to your carriers. Now, this process has been combined in the SAP S/4HANA, and now you can do all your processes like your freight unit, transportation operations, charge management, and settlement, all your processes in a single system. This eventually leads to lesser number of documents, lesser process steps, and a lower TCO. Now, what this also means is a lot of simplification in terms of the master data that is to be maintained. For example, like you had materials which were SIFT using core interface. There was SIFT as products in TM, and you had your customers and vendors, which were SIFT in as business partners in TM. These are now available as single entities as product and business partner, which is available in SAP S/4HANA. That's a total overall simplified set of operations that is currently possible. Now let's look at what is the exact process that happens. And over here, if you see at the top, there are some advanced functionalities, which are basically additional licensed versions. And you had your basic shipping functionalities, which respect to your that are available in your normal SAP S/4HANA. So let's look at, so first and foremost is the agreement management, which basically formalizes a relationship between business partners to build a foundation for transparent and automated collaboration. In addition, basic shipping also provides you the functionality of basic tendering, where you can assign carriers to your orders, and you have freight service offering capabilities. On the strategic side, you have functionalities like strategic freight management, where you can plan or negotiate the freight agreements with your carriers. You can do more detailed capacity planning and have more detailed carrier collaboration functionalities that are available. We also have in advanced transportation management, we have detailed transportation functionalities. Whereas in basic planning, while you can take the freight units, you can do your assignment of freight units to your capacities to create the freight orders. In more detailed transportation planning, it allows you to do the same, but with functionalities like the use of Gantt charts, use of optimizer, detailed package building, transportation proposals, and load consolidations. Some of these functionalities I'll be covering in the subsequent slides. Now, as I mentioned, between the basic transportation, shipping, and your advanced transportation, the advanced transportation covers the freight forwarding industries also. So the forwarding order management is a process, is an equivalent of what we were creating as purchase orders and sales orders, but for a freight forwarding industry. It allows you to create those orders within the TM system. We also have functionalities to create consignment orders and more detailed dangerous goods management, which are some of the functionalities that are required by freight forwarders. The normal freight order management, which is the planning object, basically, once a planned object, basically, it basically helps you to manage how the goods movement happens. You're able to track the different freight orders during the execution process. Okay. Now, charge management, on the settlement side of it, we have the functionality of charge management, which is essentially to say that how much amount needs to be paid to my carriers on one side. So we are able to create the rates and agreement and manage the same within your basic shipping. And finally, we are able to do the settlement part of it within TM. We have the similar options on the forwarding side in the advanced transportation management, where in addition to the freight settlement, we are also able to do the forwarding settlement of the transportation. Okay. Now, obviously from the master data side, we can.
There is a question on the chat right now. So it's asking, so the question is, will the FO get created automatically?
Okay. So depends on, so there are two options. Let me go a little back. So there are options to create freight orders manually, or you can create using your optimizer. So advanced transportation management allows you to create the freight orders automatically using the optimizer, where you can have, let's say, freight units and your capacities, which is, let's say, a truck with a capacity available. You can do an optimizer based planning in advanced transportation management, where it will consider various constraints like conditions. Let's say the truck can only load 40 tons on it. It can take into consideration other route related constraints and other incompatibilities, and then create an automatic freight order using advanced transportation management. From a basic shipping perspective, sorry. Okay, from a basic shipping shipping perspective, you can manually create the freight orders within TM. Okay. Does it answer question?
Yes, but I want to know when will it created automatically? At the time of gate entry?
No. So that depends on when you want to do the planning. So at the time of gate entry, that is a process where your planning stage has already been done. So TM typically, when you want to do a transportation planning, it allows you to do this transportation planning well in advance, so that you do not need to wait till the endpoint. However, if you want to do that particular activity of assigning freight units to the freight orders at the gate out, basically, at that point in time, the activities are essentially done in the warehouse where it happens on the actuals. So your transportation planning horizon is usually done a little more in advance.
Okay.
Your day-to-day operations typically are the manual variations in those, the planned objects, basically.
Then if we create manually, the number range will be not manually created, number range?
You mean the number range of the freight documents?
Yes.
So SAP TM allows you to do the number range both internal and external. So depending on the business requirements, we can keep, let's say, the freight order number we want to keep ABC 1234, or we can create a sequential number range, so that are managed within the system.
Okay, thank you.
Both options are available.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Now let's cover the basic transportation management in more detail as to covering what was there available in our previous LETRA solution and what is available in the basic transportation management. Now, the first thing that is most important is what is transportation relevance. We don't want all the shipments that are created or all the documents that are created in our ERP. We don't want to create. We do not need to be planned for all that, right? So in the LETRA, this used to be controlled. The delivery type, the delivery item category, and the route in the delivery uses the transportation relevance to control. On a similar lines, we have the shipping point, delivery type, and the shipping conditions. These three fields as a combination are used to controlling for what documents the integration of your S4TM happens. So only for these objects, the deliveries lead to the creation of your freight units. Now, basic transportation management, freight order creation. So once the freight units have been created as part of your integration process, and to answer the sir's question, we can use these freight units to create the freight orders. We can plan freight orders by assigning freight units to them. And this particular steps basically creates the freight orders within TM. Okay. Now, it is also possible that at a certain point in time, there's a requirement to delete a particular, let's say, object from the delivery. So in the LETRA, we used to drag and drop, remove delivery from a shipment, that process. On similar lines, it is possible to delete the freight units from a freight order. So at the point of, let's say, the gate in or gate out, if we find that we do not want to send a particular parcel out of a factory, or we don't want to transport it, that particular options or deleting the freight units from freight orders are also possible. Now, it is also possible to split the delivery similar to the functionality that was available in LETRA. The delivery split can be done, either it can be triggered within S4 ERP, and then the split is sent over to the required changes are sent over to TM, or the split can be initiated in SAP S4HANA TM, and the changes can then be sent over to your S4. That way, both the ways it is possible, so as to replicate the real life situations that are coming up in the business. Now, it's also possible. Now, a typical transportation goes from multiple stages, from, let's say, location A to location B to location C. Now, it is possible to, within TM, basic transportation management, to insert new stages, or if you want to merge stages, let's say initially we were going from location A to B and B to C. If we want to now directly go from A to C, that merging of the existing stages or removal of stages, all of these functionalities are possible within TM. This is similar to what we had in LETRA, where it was possible to enter the stages manually within the shipment document. Now, TM also supports the packaging information, where the handling unit information from your S4 handling units is then integrated into TM to create packaging information. So as you can see in the screenshot, we'll have an active vehicle with the details around what the packages are and what the details of products that are contained within those packages. So that level of details are available to be managed within the basic transportation management. It is also possible that if a typical requirement comes in where we want to maintain specific notes or information for carriers and for subsequent downstream operations, we want to maintain certain specific notes. So those notes are available to be maintained, as we can configure these and say that, okay, what is my particular loading instruction or not? These are available as text that are maintained in the freight order. It is possible. This is similar to your LETRA functionality where
Siddharth here. Sorry, Richard. Hello.
Yeah.
Siddharth here.
Yes,
suppose in my company there is a custom check that without shipment I can't do billing. So after TM implementation, shipment is required or not?
So shipment as a functionality itself is getting deprecated. So now we have the freight order as a functionality that is available within the basic transportation management. So going forward, the LETRA shipments that we used to create, that will not be available.
Okay, then I have to change my custom check also in SAP.
Yes, that will eventually. Some bit of modification, like I'm not going into details of that requirement, but
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
the custom that particular release or that particular check that you were doing, some modifications would be required on that particular check. But what we can see is, can that be worked around in this within the standard, or some changes are needed that we'll have to evaluate. But yes, at an object level, the shipment object is now being replaced with a freight order object.
Yeah, that's right. This okay. This is okay.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, similar to LETRA, we had where we had the output management to control the printing preferences. We have the output management within TM, which helps us to do the printing, fax, email, or any of those information sending via EDI. Those are controlled by the output management. This output management functionality is available, as you can see, as a tab within the freight order document. So each freight order document will have like what type of outputs you want to trigger for it. Now, it's also possible that similar to LETRA, where we had some defined events or like the check-in, loading start, loading end events that were available, against which it was possible to maintain what was the planned start dates and times and the execution dates and time. It is possible to manage these within the execution tab of the transportation management, where we can have quite a lot of detailed loading begin, loading end, and other events that are possible to be maintained. Now, within advanced transportation management, it is also possible to integrate this basic execution management, and it can be handled by the event management functionality. So a lot of additional functionalities come into the picture when either we can maintain it manually within TM, or via the integration with the event management, those events can be sent over to TM automatically. Now, on the charges management side, it is possible to manage the freight settlement document. It can be created individually from the freight order, or from a work list, which is a list of all the documents, or via the background processing. This is similar to what we had in the shipment cost document of LETRA, where it could be created individually or by processing online or background in LETRA. Similar functionalities are available on the freight settlement document. It's a similar object. Now, we also had a shipment cost document work list in LETRA. This is being available as a freight settlement work list, where we can see all the details with respect to the freight settlement document, where, like, for example, like what status it is in. Is it ready for accruals, or have the accruals been posted, or a particular freight settlement document has been canceled? So depending on the statuses of the freight settlement documents, it can be maintained over there. Now, we also have more details around this with respect to the freight settlement document, which can now be integrated with which is possible to be integrated to your purchasing functions and your financial accountings. It is also possible to do cost distribution on your freight orders. So I have a couple of freight units and I want to distribute cost on them. Those can also be, it is possible to do the mappings for those, and it is possible to manage those business processes within your basic transportation management. And finally, we have the accruals posting, self-billing, manual invoice verification, all these processes, very similar to what we had in LETRA. It is possible even within the basic transportation management. Now let's look at some of the functionalities what are available on top of basic shipping, like in the advanced transportation management. Now here we do a more detailed and holistic transportation planning, where you can consider all the freight demands, geographies, carrier tendering, optimization, Gantt chart planning, map-based tracking, pallet, package building, load planning, and a lot of regulations and all. All of these can be managed within the advanced transportation management. For example, let's take the Gantt chart-based planning. Now this provides a more visual way of managing your demands and your availability. For example, let's say you have a particular truck. This particular Gantt chart display using the visualization mode, you're able to see at what points in time it is available or not available. And using the manual drag and drop functionality of transportation planning, you can plan your demands against your capacity, and accordingly dynamically adjust your transportation planning. The same can also be visualized on your map to see on a real-time basis, okay, how your planning is being executed. It's also possible to build different levels of packages. From a transportation perspective, it's a very, very important requirement where you want to build your pallets. Let's say you can build a single product package, pallet. You can build mixed pallets where you have product A, B, C all put into a single pallet and you have a mixed pallet. All those functionalities are available within advanced transportation, and based on different rules, for example, like product stacking, customer specific requirement, height, weight, and all those package attributes, you can build these packages. It is also possible that we do a load planning within the truck. So for example, there are different capacities of trucks. There are different types of trucks that are available. Some are backside open, some are side open. You have stacking rules in these trucks, loading sequences, depending on which product needs to be taken off the truck at first and which at a later point in time. So considering all those rules and constraints, it is possible to build a truck as what you can see, different load planning options are available through an optimizer. At the same time, you also get a visual feel of how the truck gets represented based on this planning that you have executed. That is possible. Now, it is also possible that you are able to manage how the driver non-working hours, his absences, his availability, whether the licenses, whether he's licensed to drive a particular vehicle, or what are his leave times, qualifications, validity, and all those details are available to be managed within the transportation cockpit. And it is much more interactive way to do this particular driver management for your transportation. Now, like I mentioned earlier, in the basic shipping, it was possible to do a simple freight carrier selection. Here in more advanced transportation, you can do a lot more detailed tendering, like peer-to-peer tendering, broadcast tendering, where you can broadcast this to a group of carriers, or you can do a freight order assignment of to assign a particular carrier freight order to a particular carrier. All the different varieties and more detailed tendering processes is now possible to be done in the advanced transportation management. We also have the functionality, and Dimpu will slightly cover the warehousing part, but just to give an overview, we have an embedded, similar to embedded TM, we have embedded warehouse management, where in earlier processes, we had a TM and an EWM separate. So the freight units and the freight orders, they were creating a transportation unit within the EWM. Now, since it's all in one single system, SAP S/4HANA embedded system, that functionality is possible to be covered within the shipping and receiving functionality, where the processes between TM and EWM are now integrated. Thus, thereby you are having a more seamless way of managing your transportation and your warehousing processes.
Sir, I want to know, it is possible to track the present location of vehicle in TM?
Yeah, you have the option of doing a map-based tracking. So once you are integrating it with your, let's say, if your truck has a GPS in it, once you do the integration between that, you can track. It is possible to track your vehicles using your GPS-based tracking.
So for this, any third-party GPS required, or it is inbuilt in TM?
No, you'll need a third-party GPS.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Now, transportation planning, it is also a requirement from multiple customers that they want to do the planning based on the equipment types, and not just let's say based on the availability of trucks or availability of trailers or drivers or other things, but also based on equipment type. So currently, equipment type as a field is now also available within your transportation cockpit, as you see. Now, this helps that if you want to have a particular manual planning done based on equipment type, that is also possible as of now in 2021. Now, considering that Fiori Launchpad is now a single point of access of all our applications, TM transactions are also available within your Fiori Launchpad. So all similar to, let's say, your sales order processes or your procurement or manufacturing processes, all the TM processes can now be executed within your Fiori Launchpad. Thus, thereby, it gives a much more unified user experience. And over a period of time, many new apps are being added to help in this particular improving the user experience. For example, one of the most recent apps that has been added is with respect to carrier collaboration, where we are able to now collaborate with our carriers directly for all negotiating of freight agreements or sending of RFQs and freight orders and all the relevant purposes in terms of carrier collaborations that can now be done within the UI. Finally, you can get to see what in the Fiori apps library, you can see what are the different apps available with respect to the delivery and transportation, or with respect to the advanced transportation, and a lot of different new apps are getting added as when we are moving up. These all apps you are able to see, you can see more details in the Fiori apps library, whose link I've given at the top over here. I'll now hand it over to Dimpu, or if there are any questions, we can take it right now, or once Dimpu completes her process, we can then take all the consolidated questions at that point in time.
Yeah, so before we hand over to Dimpu, I think Pavel is here. I would like to formally introduce Pavel. Pavel, maybe if you can just unmute yourself and quickly introduce yourself. Pavel is going to be the SIG lead for us going forward, replacing Shivakumar Ramachandran. So Pavel, if you can maybe switch on your video and introduce yourself, that'll be great.
Okay.
If possible.
Maybe I'll just do the video next time. So I wasn't ready for it. Thank you, guys. So I'm Pavel Avail. So I'm from PACC APJ team, and I will be working with Mukesh on going forward with the furthermore initiatives from INDUS community. And I have been with SAP for close to last 18 years. So my experience drives across multiple modules in on-prem, and right now we are working in the cloud as well. So that is more about me. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pavel. Welcome to the team formally.
Thanks, Mukesh.
Dimpu, you can take it up.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, everyone. Now I will continue presenting the innovations and the extended warehouse management in SAP S/4HANA. So before we get into the innovations part, to give you a gist about it, warehouse management is an application which company normally uses to manage their day-to-day warehouse operations. For example, the stock monitoring, what are the incoming stocks or outgoing stocks, any maintenance to be done in the warehouse, and so on. So we shall see what are the available functionalities from the basic, from the warehousing point of view in SAP S/4HANA. So I'll just take you through the roadmap. So till 15.11 release of SAP S/4HANA, we used to connect a decentralized extended warehouse management. Till then, it was not available on SAP S/4HANA. So we used to connect it with decentralized EWM system. And since 16.10, SAP leveraged the option of integrating with embedded EWM in SAP S/4HANA. And after that, we have various functionalities which have been innovated and been added in every release. As you can see that since we have tried to highlight major feature functionalities which is available since 1709. I'm not going to touch upon every feature. However, to highlight features like CDS views for analytics, using the mobile RF, then using shipping, advanced shipping notification, then cross-docking, warehouse billing, dock appointment scheduling, advanced production integration, so on. So there are various innovations and feature functionalities added. So it will take some time to go through it. So I'm just brushing through. Next, we'll talk about main deployment options of EWM. So primarily, we have two deployment options as of now in SAP S/4HANA, which is embedded SAP S/4HANA EWM, then decentral S/4HANA EWM integrated either with ECC or S/4HANA side by side. So in the embedded S/4HANA EWM, this is primarily for small and mid-sized warehouse, or if you have a production warehouse, where you don't expect much volume. That's what we would like to touch on there. So you're not expecting much volume in the warehouse activities, and then you would like to manage a centralized data. So then it is one of the options provided by SAP. So here there is no data redundancy because your data are centralized place. There is no core interfaces here. Your master data, business day, relevant data, everything sits in one place. Then the decentral S/4HANA EWM with side-by-side S/4HANA. This is a classic deployment for all the warehouse scenarios. Let's say where you expect huge volume of data within the warehouses, and let's say you want to manage your warehouse activities independent of your legacy system, then we recommend the side-by-side come. Again, it depends on each business. What is the business strategy? They have to check on their scaling capacity. If they plan to scale their warehouse activities, then they may have to consider the current warehouse setup, and also they have to look into the cost aspect from the hardware and operations, so on. So again, it depends on the business, which deployment option they would go. And we have a third alternative, not a primary alternative, but third alternative called stockroom management. This stockroom management is a specific offering for the installed base. So this is a customer who is already running lightweight warehouse management implementation. So after 2025, they wouldn't be able to use LEWM. Then in ECC, then the one who uses small scale warehousing activities, stockroom management is best suited then. Now, so it is same capabilities what LEWM had in ECC as same is available in SAP S/4HANA as stockroom management. They are built on the same data model and they cover the same business process. However, some of the warehousing activities are unavailable. I mean, functionalities. For example, the value-added services, yard management, cross-docking, and so on. So they are actually part of the advanced warehousing capabilities. So they are not part of stockroom management. So whomever opt for stockroom management, they will only get the LEWM basic warehousing process as such. So next, we touch upon the basic warehouse management and advanced warehouse management. So by default, with the embedded SAP S/4HANA, you get basic warehouse management functionality such as inbound, outbound processing, your inventory management, warehousing, internal warehouse movement, reporting capabilities. Whereas with advanced warehouse management, you get advanced features like slotting, view management, material flow control, labor management, value-added services, and so on. So advanced warehouse management again comes with additional licensing. So again, it depends on the business. If their warehousing activities are smaller in scale and it can be managed with basic warehouse management, then business would go with basic warehouse. And if they require, I mean, if the complexity is huge, then it is recommended to go for advanced warehouse management, which is also called extended warehouse management. Again, here we try to give you the difference as such, what is available from the solution aspect in the basic warehouse and extended warehouse management. Yep. This gives you a sample warehouse structure, which is similar to the warehouse management, which is earlier available as well. So there is no change in these warehousing structure, which would be the same. So someone who is migrating to SAP S/4HANA from WM wouldn't see much difference as such because it's the same structure. From the organization integration, again, there is no much difference as such. You would map mainly from the EWM specific object in SAP S/4HANA. All right. So now we will see the difference between the functionalities as such, how it differs from different process with the basic warehouse management and the advanced warehouse management. So the bottom part of the slide would highlight about the basic warehouse management capabilities, and the topmost one would mention about the what is available with the advanced. So to note, the basic feature will be available by default in the advanced. So if you're going for the advanced warehouse management, you will be able to also leverage the basic warehouse management capabilities. So from the basic inbound processing, you are able to perform your the regular inbound processing. That is, you have a purchase order, then you create your inbound deliveries. You create a relevant warehouse tasks for the put away process. So you start with unloading your product based on your inbound delivery, and then perform the put away, do the post goods reset, and then perform the put away. So you can also monitor the entire thing in the warehouse warehouse management monitor, which gives you the overall activities which is going on within your warehouse. So you will get to understand which are the incoming deliveries, which are the outgoing deliveries, what are the current stock, and so on. Then it also gives you, you can actually perform multi-step put away using different scheduling options. And then you can also optimize your inventory using multiple put away strategies as well. And this also has an integration with the quality management. When it comes to advanced warehouse management, along with the basic inbound processing, you will be able to optimize your storage utilization using the slotting functionalities. To give you a brief about slotting, so it's more on to find an optimum bin. There is a storage bin which you would like to identify. So you use certain slotting criteria, and then you perform slotting. And based on the results, you will find the best suited bin for your storing of your product. So I will talk about it in the later slide. So that's a brief idea about what is slotting. And then you also have the transportation unit processing. You will try to group all these inbound deliveries based on the products or vehicles. It has to be logically taken or to be shipped, so that you can streamline using transportation unit processing. That is from the inbound processing. So from the storage and operations. So we have this physical inventory. As you all know, that a key warehouse process is to keep count of physical stock in the warehouse. So you need to know what is actually in there in the warehouse, so that you need to keep tabs on the actual quantities in the stock within the warehouse. There can be a discrepancy within your system quantity displayed and what is actually in the stock. So understanding what is actually in the stock is really important. So this gives you a full transparency and control on till your storage bin on what is the stock which is available. And also it helps you to maintain the stock balance. Suppose the stocks are clearing so that you can replenish it. And also you can maintain a clean balance check. So then that is from the basic warehousing. Along with this, in the advanced, you get value-added services. For example, value-added service is something that your customer has requested for a specific packaging to be done, and you have to follow those instructions. So you have to follow specific packaging and labeling. And then these activities are also tracked within advanced warehousing. So uh, that can be, tracked and monitored using EWM, and that you can optimize the entire time as well. How many time, how long it is required to perform your packing, your labeling, and you can create the tasks accordingly. Then kit to stock management. So we have a concept called kitting, where you create kits where you logically group the products, and which, for example, there is an order to ship the TV, then you wouldn't just ship a simple TV. Logically, in the warehouse, you will have a TV in one bin and the remote in another storage bin, let's say the manual in another storage bin. Then while shipping, you wouldn't ship everything differently to the customer. So you would logically group them together, pack them, and you ship it. So for that, we have the kit to stock management, and you can perform it within the warehouse. So you pick the materials which is required for kitting, and then send them to the work center. You perform the kitting, and then once you pack and post the finished kit and trigger put away. So this is from the storage and operations. Okay, we shall see now how it is. What are the functionalities available from the outbound processing? So from the outbound processing, you create, whenever you get a sales order, or a stock transfer order, you create an outbound delivery for that. You create warehouse tasks, and then you start picking based on your warehouse task. Then you start packing if it's required, and then you stage it, and then finally you perform the loading, which is the basic steps of the outbound processing. Then you will have, you can perform the efficient picking through stock removal strategy, so that you can find the optimal picking bin. And we also have an integration with, production integration, so that you can also do an outbound processing when it comes to the production orders. And yeah, from the advanced warehousing functionalities, we have wave picking. I'll be covering wave picking again in the later slides. So to understand it, that if you have multiple deliveries to be shipped out of the warehouse, then you start creating, and each, let's say, outbound deliveries are in the different places, then you start grouping them into waves, so that you can match that delivery time or outgoing time from the warehouse. So that's just a brief idea. I'll try to explain it in the later slides. You will not get the wave management in the basic warehouse. It's only available in the advanced. Then also the cartonization planning, already Saurabh explained in his earlier slides that package building is used. So here we perform cartonization planning. This is not the actual shipping. However, we plan it here how it actually need to look, how your carton has to look. So based on certain criteria like height, weight, width, and so on. Then there is a built-in algorithm for that, which runs and which will plan these cartonization. So that is from the outbound processing. Okay. So in the cross topic, so what are the additional features which we get in the basic warehousing? So we get analytics where you have a transparencies on the analytics part with the CDS views and overview page. You can get in real-time insight to action within the warehouse, what's happening in your warehouse. And you can also have warehouse tasks to be completed using your mobile device based on the RF framework, that is radio frequency framework. Then also it is integrated with your resource management to manage your warehouse resources. So this is from the basic warehousing. Whereas with advanced warehousing, we have a lot other capabilities. For example, labor management. This is the advanced version of resource management, where you plan, create tasks, and manage your entire labor, how it has to be done. We will cover it in the later point of time. And we have material flow control, which is to communicate with your conveyor belts or forklift automatically. There is no separate work warehouse control which is required to communicate. You can initially establish the communication, and the this flow will be done automatically. So that's with the embedded S4EWM. Then, as I said, for resources, we have labor management. Then we also have cross-docking. Then we have yard management, dock appointing, scheduling, integration with SAP transportation management, warehouse billing, and so on. So these are the other cross topics which are also available with with the advanced warehousing. All right, so we shall go in detail with basic warehousing functionalities. So by basic warehouse, by default, what you get using embedded S/4HANA EWM is warehouse structure, where you can define your physical structure, how your warehouse actually need to look, right from creation of your warehouse type, and then your creation of your storage type, how many storage types are required, whether you require high rack storage, bulk storage area. So you define everything, and also the storage bins, which you can create using your warehouse structure. After that, inventory management. So using inventory management, you get the overall idea about your warehouse complex till the granularity of the storage bin. And you will know what are the actual quantities which are available within your warehouse. Can see where exactly a particular product is placed. In which bin it is placed in your warehouse complex. So you can manage your product quantities at various levels like storage bin, resources, handling units, and so on. You can also store and manage your batch managed products, serial numbered products. Also, you can also manage vendor consignment stock, project stocks, and so on. Handling unit. So as you know that it's a physical unit which consists of both packaging materials and the goods within it. So a handling unit can be a single unit where you have a good, or you can nest it where you are placing one handling unit in the another handling unit. And that is at the multi-level, which can also be yeah, I'll try to explain it later in the package building for the advanced warehouse management. So, and handling unit is a unique identification number which can be scannable, and we also follow the industry standards such as GS1 128 GTL for the creation of the handling unit. Then with the inbound processing, as I already explained, I'm not going to touch here completely, because whenever you get your inbound delivery, then you perform the unloading, and then you perform the goods receipt, and then perform the put away process. So you can also add additional steps such as quality inspection, deconsolidation in between. Then you can automatically schedule your put away activities, or you can schedule it at different times, or you can do it manually. So you have multiple options there. Outbound processing. Again, here whenever you receive a sales order, stock transfer order, or production orders, mainly the raw materials. So you're packing, you will perform the picking activity, and then you perform the packaging, then you stage the orders, and then finally you do the loading. So I'm not touching upon it in detail. Internal warehouse movement. So here, all the activities where you have to move the products within the warehouses from one storage bin to the other one, or for any other, let's say for packing separately or anything, any internal warehouse movement that can also be tracked and used using the internal warehouse movement. The warehouse management monitor, one of the important features which is actually used by warehouse manager, where he can actually look at the entire activities which is happening within the warehouse. So here it gives the idea on what are the activities which are happening within the warehouse, what are the stocks available, what are my bins, how many inbound deliveries, how many outbound deliveries, and other thing. So this gives you the entire detail of what's happening within the warehouse. Physical inventory. So we covered it initial slide. So I'm just moving on analytics, resource management, and quality management. Then we have integration with production as well. So let's check now the feature functionalities when it comes to the advanced warehousing, which is also called extended warehouse management. So we normally support different types of warehouses, from the SAP EWM, which is production warehouse, distribution center, service part warehouses, and the cross dock or transit warehouse. So the production warehouse is mainly for your raw material handling, or your finally, your semi-finished and finished goods, for which you would be having an integration with your EWM, which can be done. And those warehouses are also handled using SAP EWM. Then if you have complex process and where you have huge volume of warehouse activities, then you have to use wave management, slotting, then which is mainly done in the distribution center. So we have we support normally all these 4 different types of warehouses. So this gives solution details on SAP EWM, right from the standalone EWM till the journey with SAP S/4HANA system till 2021 release. So what are the feature functionalities which are supported? So it's been listed out here. Okay. So again, in extended warehouse management, we have inbound processing, storage and operations, and outbound processing. We actually covered the differences with basic warehousing, so I'm not getting details of it. Along with that, we get analytics, transit warehousing, labor management, cross-docking. So one of the important feature functionality is built-in optimization, which we get with extended warehouse management. One is you can optimize your warehouse order creation, how your packages need to look. You can perform the internal routing, and slotting actually helps in finding the right bin where exactly your product to be placed. For example, let's say this is the rainy season, and during the rainy season, the umbrellas are sold well. So and the demand is high. So they have to be put in the fastest moving bin. So you will place it in those bins. So that's where slotting helps to manage your activity or to find the right bin to place your product. Then cartonization and pallet planning. Here you can plan how your carton has to look. So you can, so we have a built-in algorithm for that where it will look at the weight, height and volume and other criterias before building the package layout and how it has to look, and you can plan it well. So this again will help in later point of time when we have an integration with TM, which already explained by Saurabh. In the load planning, it really helps based on how you can place your uh, uh, package within the truck. And then wave management. So here you group the warehouse requests or orders, and then you can do it automatically, semi-automatic. So we will talk about it in the later slide. Then stock consolidation, you can merge partial quantities into complete. You can also free up your warehouse spaces based on that. All right. So slotting. So I try to explain already. We have come across the slotting multiple times since so this is one of the important functionalities which helps in optimizing the arrangement of your products in the warehouse. So you move the stock such as fast moving to its relevant optimal storage. So I gave you an example of umbrella placing at the fastest moving items because during rainy season the demand is higher. Again, let's say the winter clothes may not be in demand during the summer, so you will put it at the rare side, where you will not put it in the fastest moving items. So that's how you can create the criteria. So it will look into the slotting criteria, what you are exactly looking, and based on that, results are provided. So it will propose you the optimal storage bin, and this will help you. The time consumption is very less because you will have multiple orders, and it will be very difficult actually to proposes the right bins where you can place your product, and helps you in doing your performing your activity faster. So you can also confirm the warehouse task using mobile RF. Entire activity can be done using the mobile RF as well. Okay, now we'll touch upon the labor management. As I said earlier, with the basic warehousing, you will get resource management, whereas in labor management is an advanced where you can plan, track, measure, and report your labor activities in warehouses. So you can look through the teams or the shifts they are working in. Then you can also integrate with external time and attendance system. You can also check the clock in, clock out. You can track the activities based on time attendance. You can capture everything. Then you can also check whether the workload has been rightly distributed. If not, you can also manage that. And at the end of the day or at the end of the month, you can also drive a report out of it where you can evaluate the employee performance, which helps you finally in the analysis on how you can manage the workload within your warehouses. All right, so wave management. So even we talked about, we heard about wave management several times, and wave management is normally, wave management is normally applied during your outbound processing. Let's take a scenario where your shipment is departing at 12:30. And you have multiple multiple deliveries to be sent around 12:30, and each deliveries are to be picked from different places within the warehouse. So if you have to pick from one place, then it is okay. Then one warehouse task and you have created, and then you perform the packing, then staging, and you load it into the truck. However, the cases where you have excuse me, sorry, you have multiple urban deliveries which has to be shipped, and they are at different location, and you may have to create different warehouse tasks and perform everything manually, then it becomes tedious. So what happens, SAP Extended Warehouse Management has something called wave management, which is a template driven. So if the departure is at 12:30, let's say, for example, here we have delivery 100 and delivery 101. Here there are different items, and let's say item 10, item 30, and item 40, they require packaging to be done. There is a special instruction. They have to be packed and labeled. Whereas item 20, 10, and this item 20, then the packaging is not necessary. Then the activity areas they would be entering is also different. So they will be based on the wave creation criterias. It will look at the route, activity area, and other criterias, and it will create the waves. So the items which are need to be packed, put into a different wave, and items which do not require a packing will be put in a different way. If you look at the timeline, it automatically assigns that you pick this item which do not require a packing at 11, whereas the one which needs a packing, it has to undergo several activities. Therefore, the picking is at 10 and you pack it at 11, you stage it at 11:30, then you load it at 12 so that you can finally depart at 12:30. So this waves, they can be created automatically. You can create it semi-automatic, or you can plan them manually as well. So either you group the items or you split. So this is again, as I said, the criteria is based on your route, pick area, packing lanes, and product. All right, production integration with EWM. So you have, I mean, a typical process in the manufacturing of a product is any organization, they get the raw materials from a staging area and use this material for products of, producing something which is semi-finished or finished goods, which later you store it in the warehouse. So end user, then how do you, so for that, you can utilize extended warehouse management, where you create production orders, which can be used for your, picking the raw materials later to do the staging, and then finally send it to the plant for the production. And once it has been produced, again you can get the finished product and store it in the respective warehouses. So you can perform a staging and consumption, then you can receive the finished and semi-finished goods from the production. So all these activities can be tracked and performed using EWM. Then plant maintenance. So every, plant, they require a maintenance. Either you plan it, or there might be a planned maintenance or unplanned, maybe for some malfunction or some any disturbances within the plant. So for that, you create a maintenance order. And this maintenance order, for which you create all the components which is required, are supplied normally from the EWM managed storage locations. So you create the maintenance order, and then you send the maintenance supplies which is required for the plant maintenance from the EWM, whereas everything you can track what are the items required here using the EWM. So you can stage based on the plant maintenance order, you can receive it location to determine a right staging area, and you can check the entire activity as well using warehouse management monitor. All right, unified package builder. So this has already been explained by Saurabh, so I'm not touching how it's done. This is again from the EWM prospect. So we use the single, the same layer to build the packaging. So unified packaging building, which is used by transportation management, core logistics, and EWM. So we utilize the packaging instruction engine. There is a packaging specific engine which is used, and you build the packages based on available your packaging master data and engines. You also create packaging based on certain criterias. As I said earlier, that the height of a package, weight of the package, everything is considered and put it into the algorithm, that is package builder optimizer, which will give you an optimized package which can be fit into the truck. So here you can see that in the TM, it's you perform freight unit building and then you consolidate your package building, then you create package unit. In the warehouse, you receive the goods and then you perform receiving from production. You perform the outbound packaging at packaging work center. Then you perform the inbound consolidation, deconsolidation. Yeah. So along with this, we have an out of the box integration with Warehouse Insights. So Warehouse Insight is a dashboard where you can actually get the real-time insights on your warehouse operations, your layout and travel network. You can get an insight into your network data correctness, checking the historical warehouse orders to show how many empty travel can be reduced, and you can also check uh, the start date of your warehouse orders. You can, everything can be monitored in the real time. So that's a dashboard which can be checked using the SAP Warehouse Insight. Yeah. Here we are highlighting some of the Fiori apps which have been added over the time for SP S/4HANA. So here from the inventory point of view, warehousing and delivery and transportation. These are some of the apps which have been added where the which is new in 2021, UP says updated in 2021. So these are some of the apps. Yeah. Do we have time to go for the quick demo?
Yes, please. We can still go ahead for a short demo. We have about 12 minutes left. So maybe if it is a 3-4 minute demo, then we can do a round of question answers as well.
Yeah. All right. We'll start with TM demo. So in the interest of time, we have recorded it already. So the process starts. This is the outbound process, which we are trying to display. The outbound process start with the creation of your sales order. So here we will create 3 different sales order with different quantities. So you enter the material and then let's say the first sales order has 50 pieces. The second sales order with the 60 pieces. the third sales order with 70 pieces. So once we have the sales order created, we will create outbound deliveries out of it. So we select all the relevant sales order and create the outbound deliveries. So once the outbound deliveries are created, let's see how we can plan this. So already freight units are created. So automatically freight units are created using the freight unit building rule. So we have to plan these freight units to start the shipment. So in order to create your execution order, that is your freight order. So we select all the relevant freight units. So this we are trying to show the manual planning. So we are manually inputting all the freight units into freight order. Then you select the vehicle which is required for the transporting these goods. Then the carrier with whom you have already agreed upon for shipping the goods from certain location to the customer location. Then once we have the execution order in place, we have planned the shipment, we will perform the picking. So we will perform the picking for all the outbound deliveries for their respective quantity. So once the picking is performed, we will set it to loaded. So all the freight orders will be set to loaded. They have been loaded onto your truck. Then you will get those message as well that it has been loaded. So once we load, we will now post the goods. So you will perform the post goods issue. So it has been done. So now we will set it to departed. The truck has departed from the shipping location. So you can also check the output management where you will get the preview of your waybill. Now we will say that truck has arrived to the respective premise, let's say to the customer location. We'll set it to arrived and see what happens next. So now we have confirmed that truck has arrived to the customer location. Then we set the proof of delivery for the respective quantities that we have. I mean, it has been received. Once the proof of delivery is done, we will go back to the freight order, which so we will now calculate the cost which is incurred. So if you go to charges tab, you will see all the relevant charges. Then you create the settlement for that. So you create your freight settlement, which is an I mean, a service PO is created automatically. So as soon as freight settlement is created in the embedded S/4HANA, a relevant service PO is also created for further invoice verification and everything. Yeah. So this is from the TM perspective. We shall check the now I will be taking you through the inbound process of, I mean, very basic process. Otherwise, it will take, I mean, it's a bit lengthy. So I have taken a basic process, inbound process of EWM. So here we assume that purchase orders are already created, and we need to create inbound deliveries for those purchase order. We just select all those relevant purchase order based on the delivery date. Then you provide the advance shipping. You start creating the. So if you require a handling unit, that is a packaging material to be added, then you need to mention it here. So here we are saying that we require a handling unit, and that's why we are creating before we create an inbound delivery. So you add the handling unit, then you create an inbound delivery here. So once inbound delivery is created, now excuse me. So we have to we have to note down the handling unit so that we use it later in the mobile device. So you have to create a warehouse task. So select the delivery item and then create the warehouse task. So warehouse task get automatically created. So if you look at it here, this is a warehouse task for put away. Sorry, put away warehouse task for unloading. Now we will go to the mobile device, enter the device number. Then here, since we are doing inbound process, we'll select inbound process. This is an unloading. So we will select unload and then unload by delivery, because we'll enter the inbound delivery number here. Then you create, sorry, you enter the handling unit number, which was created. Then the destination bin in which so create yes, so it has been unloaded. Now again we will do a put away. So enter the mobile device number here, select inbound process. Now we do a put away, then put away by handling unit. Enter the handling unit number, then the destination bin in which it has to be put. Then you can check in the warehouse monitor. So in the warehouse monitor, if you go to inbound documents and then inbound delivery, you can enter the inbound delivery which was created, and then you can see the inbound delivery and relevant tasks. And if you click warehouse task, you have all the warehouse tasks here, and you can confirm this warehouse tasks. So this is a very basic inbound processing which I try to demo today. Yeah, that's it from the demo aspect. Yeah, did I take more than sufficient time, or are we on time? Hello.
Hey, thanks for the demo.
Yeah.
There are a couple of questions from my side. I'm Sojan Varghese calling from Hyderabad, Dr. Reddy's. Are you audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, so one question is this related to WM. we are using LEWM till now, and there is a roadmap saying that by 2025 it has to be migrated to EWM, right? That's the end of the
Right.
support period. So,
Yeah.
do we have any migration path from normal LEWM to EWM, or it's a re-implementation?
There is actually, I mean, I have not put the details here. I mean, we can certainly guide you through that. There is actually a migration path.
Okay, okay, good, thanks. And if we can add that into your presentation or somewhere, that will help.
Yeah.
Second, what I heard is,
and yeah, my question is it, are you, as I said, is it the small warehouse which you use? I don't think if it's Dr. Labs Reddy's, then it would be a small. So then I think you wouldn't be using stock from management as such. So
yeah, so we are using our say raw material warehouse or packing material warehouse and finished goods warehouse and even engineering warehouse.
yeah,
all we using our LEWM. So it's a small kind of each plant will have a WM solution so implemented.
Okay.
Okay, so
then,
yeah, I heard that there is some migration path. Please help us to get that part. So second thing is EWM and advanced WM. Is both are the same or is it different?
Yes, both are the same. It's just the terminology used different. That's it. So just the basic is the basic WM, and then advanced is extended warehouse management in SAP S/4HANA. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So because slight because of that different terminology, I was thinking that whether it is a different one.
No. It's the same. Just the terminology is different. That's it.
Oh.
It's one and the same. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. And you will be sharing this all the presentations and recordings, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So just to add one thing, I think your question was also whether there's a separate license for advanced warehouse management. There's a separate license.
Yeah. EWM we have license, but we didn't implement it. So I know EWM there is a separate license, but my question was EWM and advancement WM.
So one solution EWM which has basic and advanced.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask for outbound?
Hello. Yeah.
Yes, please go on.
Suppose I have 3 sales of 3 different customers. Okay. And the customer address is in the same route. So I want to dispatch the material in a same vehicle. Then how it is possible?
This question is from the TM related?
Yeah.
Yeah. No. I was asking, are you asking from the warehouse point of view or from the shipping point of view? That's it. Yes, you can actually add it in the same truck.
Then how will I manage the web bridge system? Because every customer wants the web bridge slip and invoice. How it manage?
So you're asking, there are 3 different customers, and they have. I mean, you want to ship the product to them. Whether you can ship the product in the same truck, for example.
Yes.
Yes, we can do that. And if it's a stage level calculation, and then we have, I mean, because it's a different customer, you can certainly, I mean, the truck invoicing is different. From the forwarding order point of view, we can actually get the distributed cost, and we can bill the customer specific to that, if that's what you're looking for. So if you want to bill the customer based on the freight cost, we can certainly do based on the distributed cost.
Yeah, this is okay. It means we can manage web bridge also for different customers. Women sleep also.
Now, I couldn't get that last part, sorry, because there was a disturbance
Because
behind.
every customer want the final rate.
Right.
Final and invoice. So
Right,
it is
right.
possible to manage.
Right.
Which you are talking, it's possible to manage. Okay.
Yeah.
And have there any master data that system will inform me that this customer you have to put this material in last and this material is fast because this customer is the next very fast of another two customer. So
The routing is dependent on optimizer, how we want to define it.
Yes.
So you certainly give in your planning profile all the information on how we want to. I mean, if it's optimizer based, that's automatically you can determine and also you would have defined the transportation lanes already. So it will take into consideration all those criterias, and then it will give you the optimum path. So, and also when the stages are created within the, let's say, freight order, it will create based on those. So it will also look into the distance, duration, everything, and then it will, yeah. So that is done.
This is master data. No?
Right. Your master data has to be there for that. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we are already 5 minutes past the time. So thank you everyone for staying online for the entire duration. I know 90-minute calls can be a little long, but these also allow us to go deep into the topic. Thanks to both the speakers for the insightful sessions. And thanks, Pavel, and looking forward to seeing you all in the next session next month again. Pavel, anything you want to say to close the session?
Thank you, Mukesh. I'm just looking forward for the next session. Thank you guys for your patience.
Thank you. Take care. The recording of this session is already available on the INDUS YouTube channel if you want to access it.
Thank you, everyone.